So the Dallas Mavericks are going to the NBA Finals, and of course, we got some receipts for all the people who are doubting Luka over the past couple of years now.
If OKC come out and hit them hard, the way Luka unfortunately cries, offense and defensively, he's looking for calls on either side. He wanted a double dribble. You might as well get that motherfucker whistle too. Like, God damn, just get a whistle gun. You want to be a referee or you want to be a basketball player? Bad, if you can hit them really hard, Luka missed 3 or 4 shots in that first quarter, that game's over. He mentally doesn't come back when he goes off. Them first 12 minutes are going to be very important for OKC. If they can get out, get like an 8-9 point lead, you can probably blow the game away, and all you do is just right there point is focus on Kyrie.
It is so crazy to me, especially from Gilbert Arenas, the man who has been pushing this anti-European propaganda for the last, I don't know, like 2-3 months now, to believe that out of all players that Luka Doncic isn't mentally prepared for whatever playoff basketball is ahead of him. We're talking about someone who's been playing against grown men since he was 16. This narrative that, quite frankly, if we're being honest with ourselves, is nothing more but just xenophobic, that Europeans are soft and they're not there, and no. Let's calm it down a little bit. Because if anybody who's mentally tough, anybody who really is about it, it's Luka Doncic every day of the week, bro. There's stuff that Luka be doing on the floor. There's shit talking that he be doing. The yapping, the back and forth that he be doing. Bro, Luka low-key a demon. Bro, he out there smiling at people when he's blowing them out. Smiling at the fans. Waving at the fans. Yes, he does complain a bit. But like, to think that of all people that Luka Doncic is not mentally there, he's not mentally strong enough, is crazy.
Luka Doncic is the real deal, no question about it. But I'm leaning towards Jason Tatum. I'm just a huge Jason Tatum fan. He's about 3 inches taller than 2 to 3 inches taller than Luka Doncic. He's clearly a much better defender. He's averaging nearly 20 points on nearly 45% shooting and nearly 40% shooting from 3-point range, which is considerably better than the 3-point shooting of Luka. We like to see those step back threes that he has hit, but nevertheless, he doesn't shoot with the degree of accuracy that Jason Tatum shoots with from long range.
I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. The whole who's better, Tatum or Luka conversations, I've never understood them. After like year 1 of Luka, it has been very clear that he has been a better player. People will go on to believe this because they just blindly look at numbers and come to conclusions without putting into context that Tatum is not only in a weaker conference, but was on a far superior team. And now two-way impact is why he's better. Mind you, these are the same people who will champion someone like Magic Johnson, claim that he was better than players who had two-way impact during the 80s, but now when it comes to Luka, all of a sudden that goes out the window. Furthermore, just sitting here looking at someone's three-point percentage and determining who's a better shooter is a bit ridiculous. To be fair, however, at that stage in their careers, Luka just wasn't anywhere near close to the three-point shooter he eventually became. But just looking at numbers blindly, without putting into context the team that they have around them, the conference that they play in, the responsibility that they have, there's never, ever been a moment in Jason Tatum's career where he's had anywhere near close, and I do mean anywhere near close, to the same responsibility that Luka has had throughout his first handful of years in the NBA. And again, I'm going to double down and say it again. I think a lot of this shit is just rooted in xenophobic because y'all just don't want to see the next face of the NBA be someone who's not a black American. I'm going to just say it because we've been doing this for the last, God knows, I don't know how long. And we were talking about this a couple of months ago, I think on this channel or my other channel, where like people were searching and finding like, oh my God, who's going to be the next face of the NBA? And I'm like, bro, there's a 24, 25-year-old in Dallas right now putting up historic numbers literally every single year he's played basketball. And y'all are wondering who's the next face of the NBA? That's never happened before. Very clearly, the best player in the NBA who's projected to be that will be the 24, 25-year-old who's damn near averaging a 30-point triple-double for like 2 to 3 years in a row. In any other space, that would be undeniable. But people were fighting it for what though? For what? And the name that you came up with Jason Tatum? Stop.
And I just look at Jason Tatum and what he's asked to do and how he's just 22 years of age. Just 22. He's got a handle, he's got a shot, he can go to the hole, he can finish at the basket, plus he can defend. I love what I see from Zion. I love what I see from Luka. Both of those candidates clearly have the potential, but I got news for you. It would be a mistake to omit Jason Tatum from this conversation. He is right there, and he can overtake anybody. He's got that kind of skill, that kind of length, that kind of athleticism, that kind of defensive prowess as well. He's got the package, man. He's something special.
Now, this is what's going to be crazy because this finals does mean effectively all these people who've been making these claims are about to be packed up. In Chilltown, you one of them too. You one of them too. Even though that's an older clip, bro, that clip was done in 2020. He's sitting here talking, Stephen A. Smith is talking about, well, Jason Tatum was 22. Luka was 20, averaging 29, 9, and 9. Bro, what are we discussing? I'm so serious. I've never in my life seen a young player put up those type of numbers, and we're sitting here talking about anyone else. If that was a black man who came from poverty, we wouldn't be even discussing it. It would actually be, it would be disrespectful to put anybody else in that conversation. Never in my life have I ever seen a 20-year-old put numbers up like that, and we're talking about someone else. Please spare me. And to Chilltown, because I'm on YouTube, Chill.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Chilltown Hoops. I'm your host, Jermaine. The youngsters call me OG. My friends call me J-Dub. Let's get to it.
Hold on, wait, chill. This nigga Chill, what an intro, my brother. Yeah, you Chill. Yeah, it's a big finals for you because I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't even care if it's win or loss. If Jason Tatum ain't coming close to Luka, or Luka looks by far better than Jason Tatum, that conversation is done. That conversation is washed, is done. And I just think it's disrespectful that a player since 20 years old has been averaging effectively 29 points, 9 rebounds, and 9 assists, and we dare have a conversation about who's better or who's the face of the NBA. Luka this year, 24, 25 years old, led the league in scoring at 34 points per game, 10 assists, 9 rebounds, shooting splits of 49, 38, 78, and we're sitting here asking who's going to be the next face of the NBA. He's putting up numbers that we've never seen before. The fact that Luka was doing that and people didn't even believe that he should be in an MVP race, that people thought that Shea should have been ahead of him, and he beat that man. The fact that people thought that between him and Jokic was a massive gap and he's about to go into the finals and potentially win, and the fact that people were trying to put Jason Tatum in front of him in terms of facing the NBA? Stop.
Luka is the one, dare I say, that has a huge question mark hovering over him. And it's nothing statistical. That's the beauty of what Kendrick Perkins just pointed out. Luka is on the verge of becoming the first player since LeBron James in 2004-2005 to score 2,000 points, over 500 rebounds, and 500 assists in a season and not make the playoffs. Luka gets 41. They lose a game. Luka's not only depressed after the game, he looks depressed during the game. You talk about a level of demoralization that's kicked in. This is one of the things that I was told prior, before Kyrie ever played the game. We're going to find out about Luka. This is by an NBA official. We're going to find out about Luka, not his game, but his leadership. Because of what KP brought up. You had Porzingis, didn't work out. Somehow, some way, y'all don't come up with the money to keep Jalen Brunson, even though he balled out for you. Dropped 41 in the game against Utah. Dropped 31 in the conference finals against Golden State. Was doing things against Phoenix as well. We looked at it, got to the conference finals, obviously, last year. You had Jalen Brunson, you let him walk out the door. You had Dorian Finney-Smith. You had Spencer Dinwiddie. So you had a team that was good enough to get you to the conference finals. You gave up 2 bodies for one in Kyrie Irving, and obviously that was going to compromise you defensively so we could bring up Nico Harrison, who I'm a fan of, and I believe in the brother, and I want to give him every opportunity to succeed. But the bottom line is their roster doesn't look as formidable as you would like defensively, just like Kendrick Perkins just pointed out. But the big thing has been Luka.
I'm happy that we got this clip because it does encapture why so many people were so quick to jump off the Luka bandwagon last year. And I'm not even saying I wasn't one of these people either, because I was a bit skeptical. I was like, I really wonder if Luka can operate next to another ball-dominant guard. Can he work off ball? Because those are all things that were a detriment to his game. But I wasn't going to go anywhere near as far as to question his leadership, his acumen, his ability to perform, because at the end of the day, with Jalen Brunson alongside him, they got to the conference finals while he was 22, 23 years old. So it's not as if he had never provided the evidence that he wasn't going to be able to make deep postseason runs. It was if all this stuff is going to be sustainable and how they were going to replace Jalen Brunson with the player that was necessary. And they came up with Kyrie Irving. So congratulations to them. But this is exactly what I was referring to in my video on my main channel, ironically, ironically enough, about Luka being in NBA hell. How he can keep putting up these numbers and stats, but until he wins, people are always going to be openly critical of him, despite the fact that this is the same man, or who's also openly praising, Jason Tatum, who also has not won either. But because Luka gets thrusted in conversations because of the level of play he performs at, how the numbers he posts up, how he's comparable to other all-time great players and does things that, quite frankly, I don't think we've ever really seen at this stage of someone's career outside of Oscar Robertson, right? From a statistical profile. Now we have to criticize him with a level of fervor that we really don't hold anybody else to the same standard to. Criticizing Luka for not making the playoffs in year 3 or 4 when Kareem missed the playoffs in his prime is crazy. Criticizing Luka for not making the playoffs in year 3 and 4 when they're going through a transitional period because they just lost Jalen Brunson and everybody knew that year was going to be a lost year and just trying to figure out the pieces and replace him. I think that's a bit crazy and a bit outlandish, but it's perfect to bring this up because that's exactly where we were just at a year ago. And what's crazy is, to be fair to Stephen A. Smith, he did say he wanted to give the executive out there, Nico Harrison, enough time to rebuild and restructure, and that's exactly what he did. Within a year's time, this front office, they got Kyrie Irving, they tanked the last game of the season and missed the play-in, and people criticized them because, as you see Stephen A. Smith doing so. But because they tanked, they got a high draft pick, they used that draft pick to trade away, and they end up getting Derek Lively because of that. Then in the offseason, picked up Derek Jones Jr., and then in this year's trading deadline, they got PJ Washington and Daniel Gafford. They made 5 additions to a team within a year's time that now has shifted people going from questioning Luka as a leader, as someone who is a performer, as someone who has questions about his ability because he played alongside Kristaps Porzingis, who was not healthy or available during those runs. Be very mindful, he's not healthy and available now, but no one doesn't go back and question Porzingis whatsoever, but we're going to question him. We're questioning Luka because the front office didn't see the true potential in Jalen Brunson and didn't want to give him the money that would have been an even greater lowball than where he's at right now, but we're questioning Luka, and now literally within a year's time, we go from questioning him from missing the playoffs in a rebuilding year that we all knew was going to happen to him making the NBA Finals with marginal additions to the team that nobody thought were going to be big enough for them to make the finals. That's crazy. That's crazy. How much things change just like that.
The greatest offensive players the league's ever seen. Luka is that. He is one of the greatest, heliocentric or not, offensive forces the league has seen. A number 2 option who, when his mind is right and he is not relied on to be the number 1 option, is as good of a number 2 postseason killer as we've seen. Like, that's what his resume is in this specific setting. And a roster built exactly with not only those players' strengths, but maybe more importantly, those 2 players' weaknesses in mind. And all of that, plus 2 guys who are absolutely fearless at the end of close games, is how you take a team that looked like, oh my God, they should be the favorites to win the title in Minnesota, and 3 games later, every close game late, you're like, well, they're going to lose. They're going to lose because the other guys are going to take it from them.
That's actually crazy enough. That's actually a really good take from Nick Wright, because to me, I look at Luka and there's never been a moment in my life, and it's so odd to me how the intangibles, the mentality gets handed over by certain players and not other. There's never been a moment in my life where I've ever questioned the mental intangibles about Luka Doncic, but for whatever reason, that's been up for conversation. I've never ever questioned the offensive ability outside of off ball from Luka Doncic. However, that's been in question. I've never ever really questioned the ability of what Luka has been able to do at a certain level at such a young age, but even that has been in question. I don't understand what exactly y'all want from this man. I just genuinely don't. Luka is a special talent, bro. I've never seen somebody post up these type of numbers at the age that he is at, and people consistently question him to the degree of putting him in Devin Booker conversation or Jason Tatum conversation. I never understood it. I didn't understand why people were so hesitant to give the man the MVP this year, because I had him winning MVP this season. It's odd to me that some of y'all have been watching and covering basketball for as long as y'all have, and you all can't see the brilliance of these players. A part of me wants to believe that it's not xenophobic, but when I hear the arguments, the reasonings behind it, 23, he missed the playoffs. Who cares? He only played 66 games that year. We knew they were going to go through a restructuring phase because they lost Jalen Brunson. Who cares? Shout out to Dallas Mavericks. Shout out to Luka Doncic. Go on, brother, and continue to be excellent. Go on to dominate, and I hope you win a championship, because I'm not a Boston Celtics fan. I'm a Laker fan. I don't want to see Boston win. But if he does win, oh my goodness, the I told you so tour, gonna be nasty.